All right, today we're diving into the unsung hero of the human body, the biological fabric that, and I mean this literally, holds us all together. It's everywhere, doing just about everything, and yet most of us barely give it a second thought. So let's get into it. So let me ask you something right off the bat. What do you think is the most widespread and abundant tissue in your entire body? Seriously, take a guess. Is it your skin? Maybe your muscle tissue? What do you think? If you guessed connective tissue, you nailed it. This stuff is our body's ultimate utility player. You can think of it as our internal glue, our living scaffolding, and the master support system that keeps everything in its right place. It's the whole shebang. Now, here's what makes connective tissue so different from everything else. See, in a tissue like your skin, that's an epithelial tissue, the cells are all crammed together, shoulder to shoulder. But with connective tissue, the cells are scattered about. They're suspended in this non-living substance called the extracellular matrix. And that matrix, well, that's the secret sauce. It's the real game changer. So if the matrix is where all the magic happens, what's it actually made of? Well, it turns out that all the incredibly different connective tissues in your body, I'm talking everything from rock-solid bone to liquid blood, are all built from just 3 core ingredients. Here's the recipe. First, you've got the living cells, kind of like the construction crew that builds and maintains the whole operation. These cells live inside the ground substance, which is this sort of watery, gel-like goo that fills up all the space. And then, woven all through that gel, you have the protein fibers, acting like a network of reinforcement cables and nets. Okay, so you take that ground substance and you add those protein fibers, and boom, you've got your extracellular matrix. The thing to remember here is that the specific mix of this non-living matrix is what gives each tissue its unique superpower. It's the reason bone is hard enough to take a hit and why cartilage is bouncy enough to cushion your joints. It's all in that mix. You know, once you get this basic recipe, you can start to organize all the different kinds of connective tissue pretty easily. I find it helpful to think of it like a big family tree with a few main branches. So, the 3 main branches are connective tissue proper. That includes stuff like fat and the tough tendons that connect your muscles. Then you have supportive connective tissue, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's your cartilage and bone. And finally, there's fluid connective tissue. Yep, you guessed it, blood and lymph. They all share that same basic blueprint, just different ingredients. We could seriously spend hours going down each of those branches. But for today, we're going to zoom in on the most common and, honestly, the most diverse category of them all, connective tissue proper. This is really where the action is. So, to really get what connective tissue proper is all about, we have to meet the specialized cells that are actually living and working inside its matrix. Let's think of them as our cast of characters, where each one has a super specific and vital job to do. First up, let's meet the star of the show, the fibroblast. This is your master builder. It's the most common cell you'll find here, and its one and only job is to pump out the ground substance and the protein fibers that create that all-important matrix. Next up, we have the macrophage. Think of this guy as the tissue's security guard and cleanup crew all in one. It's this big immune cell that just patrols the area, gobbling up any nasty bacteria, invaders, or old cell junk to keep the neighborhood clean and safe. Then there's the mast cell. This one is the tissue's over-the-top alarm system. The second it detects something irritating, it just blasts out chemicals like histamine. And that is what triggers the inflammation you know as an allergic reaction. We're talking the itch, the swelling, all of it. And finally, rounding out our main cast, we have the adipocyte, which you probably just know as the fat cell. This is the body's expert energy storage unit. Its main gig is to store lipids, or fats, which act as a crucial energy reserve while also giving us some nice insulation and cushioning. Of course, our little cell workers need building materials, right? Well, those fibroblasts are busy making 3 main types of protein fibers. You've got collagen fibers, which are basically steel cables, unbelievably strong and tough to break. Then you have elastic fibers, which are like the body's rubber bands, letting things like your skin stretch and snap right back. And finally, reticular fibers, which form these delicate little safety nets that support our soft organs. Okay, so we've met the cellular cast, we've seen their building blocks, but how does all this tiny microscopic action actually translate into the real world? Why does any of this matter to you and me? Well, its functions are, quite simply, everywhere. This material forms the tough wrapping around your muscles, it creates the dense tendons that connect those muscles to your bones, and it builds the entire skeleton that's holding you upright right now. It is truly the great connector. And the diversity is just mind-blowing, even within a single cell type. Get this. Take those fat cells, the adipocytes. Most of the fat in adults is white fat, which is designed for storing energy long-term. But babies have a ton of brown fat, which is packed with powerhouses that are specialized to burn fat just to generate heat. Two kinds of fat, two totally different jobs. And remember those dramatic mast cells? You know that feeling when a mosquito bite swells up and gets so itchy? Or when your sinuses just explode during allergy season? That is a direct result of your mast cells freaking out and releasing histamine. It's a microscopic process with a very real and, let's be honest, a very annoying effect on your life. So, if there is one thing to take away from all of this, it's this. All of this incredible complexity, the rigid strength of bone, the springiness of your skin, the cushion of fat, even the liquid flow of your blood, all of it comes down to different combinations of just these three things: cells, ground substance, and fibers. That's it. That's the entire code. Which leaves us with one last really cool thought to chew on. If this tissue is the living, adaptable scaffolding of our bodies, just imagine what we could build by learning how to master it. From regenerating tissues to healing injuries faster, the possibilities are just as vast as the tissue itself.